welcome to the newest episode of The World is Burning. Shout out to the 24 subscribers. I'm actually pretty impressed I've already on 24. I will never forget you all, my real day ones. The world is burning. I'm pretty sure that the world is on a downward slump. We're at the end of the empire. And the financial system is a house of cards waiting to fall, and has been waiting to fall for some time. We're going to get into the video here. We're going to watch some TikTok, see where the state of people's finances are at. Hopefully we'll have some good tips. Let's get into it.
I was 23 years old. I had saved over $30,000, and yet I was in $9,000 of credit card debt. I was using credit cards because I was being impatient, just trying to invest as much as possible. This was actually very stupid though, and this...
Yeah, I'm gonna pause this here. This is really stupid. I've heard people getting lines of credit put on investments. This is one of the dumbest things you can do, because the interest you're going to pay on that debt is probably not going to outperform your investments. Don't invest with money that you don't have. Rule number one.
actually takes longer to save simply because you throw a lot of money away in credit card interest that you could have put towards your actual savings. And due to daily compounded interest with credit cards, your balance can actually grow higher each month, getting you more.
Yeah, if you have a credit card and you got a couple $100s on it, the interest isn't anything to lose sleep about. Obviously, you don't want to be giving interest away, but when you start getting 9, 10, 11, 5 figures of debt, the interest compounds pretty quickly.
On top of that, I took a huge risk, because if something would have happened to the money I had invested, then I would have been stuck with all that credit card debt. My mom kept trying to tell me how stupid it was, and I would not listen. And this actually happens to way more people than you would ever realize. Even very successful people have made these same mistakes. And I know because I encounter this on a daily basis. So I've learned to be patient and to take things a little slower instead of...
Yeah, be patient. Only invest the money that you've got. Stay away from getting leveraged and getting margin on any sort of investments. And when you invest in something, actually do the work. Don't just pull the trigger on something that you have no idea about.
Okay, I had £8,000 in credit card debt and I wanted it gone. I had £5,000 on one card, £3,000 on another, and I just wanted it completely gone and to start fresh with my money. I've paid them both off. My credit rating is now 950 and I'm in my second month of building up my emergency savings. So this is exactly how I managed to get myself out of that situation and just in a better place with money. So there are different methods to paying off credit cards apparently, but what made the most sense to me at that time was paying off the highest interest first to the lowest interest and making sure I just had it all gone. I didn't let myself have it.
Yeah, this is one of the Dave Ramsey methods. You know, you've got to look at exactly what your debts are, what interest you're paying, and what the balances are. And the ones at the highest balance, that have the highest interest, just knock those on the head as quick as possible.
Like emergency savings, any cushion or anything like that as well. All of everything I could put towards it was going towards it from highest interest to lowest interest. So that's essentially the tactic I did. Then when it comes to managing my income in order to have stuff there to pay it off, it was just a huge learning curve for me essentially in how I thought about money. So my first step in figuring out how to pay these off was to stop thinking of my income as my salary amount. Instead, I got a spreadsheet. I put exactly what I earn on my pay slip with all of the deductions and what I was left with, not what my salary amount should be per month, but what I was left with. Then I took away our mortgage, our extortionate childcare, our extortionate heating and electric, and everything else that was a need, that was a bill coming out per month. Took that all away, and then that was my money. That was actually all I had. And I only let myself think of that figure, nothing else, because I was spending like I had money. And really, when I looked at the numbers, I didn't.
Yeah, guys, you've got to crunch the numbers, get a spreadsheet going. You really, really, really need to know exactly what's coming, what's going out, and what you can attribute to throw at these debts if you've got some serious debts.
Basically stripped away everything that wasn't a need, and I really, really cut back. So there was no gym, we got rid of the car, we didn't go on holiday. We really, really cut back.
Yeah, and I'll leave this video at that one, but yeah, you've really got to figure out your needs, your wants, and things that go towards investments or going back to debts. End of the day, there's going to be a rough patch if you're seriously in debt where you've got to cut back some of these needs and these wants and even some of the needs, really. So yeah, you've got to really, really be on top of your finances and know what's coming in, what's going out, and what extra money you have to throw at these debts.
My friend fell into a credit card debt. This happened many years ago. My friend was in her 20s and she was earning a monthly salary of about 6,000. She had no house, no car, so basically no financial commitments. She was free to spend her money on anything. My friend worked very hard, so to reward herself, she would splurge on facials, nails, shopping, and holidays. She would even go for weekend trips.
Yeah, lifestyle creep's a thing, guys. You know, especially if she's earning 6,000, she might think she's rich enough to do all this stuff. Chances are you're probably not.
Of these trips were not cheap.
Yeah,
She
exactly.
swiped all these expenses on her credit card and she did not pay her bill in full. She would usually pay the minimum and then let the interest roll. And we all know, I hope we all know that credit card interest is actually quite high. When
It's not only high, it's actually quite evil when you really break down what credit card interest is. Yeah, paying the minimum monthlies is an easy way to get yourself in a lot of trouble. You should be paying off your balance every single month, and if you can't pay off your balance every month, you're probably spending too much.
maxed out her first credit card, she simply went on to the second credit card and continued swiping. I
Yeah,
think she maxed out about
doubling up.
5 credit cards.
5 cards,
And she
jeez Louise.
owed the credit card companies a 5-digit amount. Ultimately, she decided to be on a debt repayment scheme. After a few years, she finally paid off all her debts. Sometimes, credit card can give you the illusion that you have more spending money than you actually do.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. People see, they'll open up a card with 5k worth of credit and they think, oh, this is my money now. It's not. And it's not 5k because it's the interest on top. I think it's 22.5% interest right now. Um, Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
A couple of years ago, I was in almost £18,000 worth of credit card debt, and whilst I was on my debt-free journey, I discovered a little thing called Lifetime ISA. So if you don't know what that is, it is basically a savings account for those saving towards their first home, and you can contribute up to £4,000 into this account every tax year. And so even though I was paying off all my debt, I was actually contributing towards this Lifetime ISA.
Yeah, I think these are only in the UK, these lifetime ISAs, but they're pretty good. I got one for my help to buy with my house. It's actually a pretty good scheme that the banks and the government run. Definitely look into these if you're in the UK.
And actively saving towards my first home as well as paying off debt. It took me around 18 months or so to fully clear off my debt. However, had I not been contributing to my Lifetime ISA, I would have been debt free quicker. So I'm sure you're all thinking, why was I saving if I'm still in debt? Well, a Lifetime ISA lets you contribute up to £4,000 per tax year, and the government tops your account up by 25% on top of those deposits. So that's up to £1,000 per tax year free cash. And I'd switched my credit card debt to a 0% card, so I was actually getting no interest whatsoever on my credit card debt, but I was gaining 25% on my Lifetime ISA. So finally,
Yeah, and anyone who's played in the markets and knows about investments, 25% is nothing to laugh at. That's some serious cash, especially when you can throw 4k in a year. I know a few people have done it multiple years and have made some serious money off that. So, shout out Budget Jones Diary.
it made more sense for me to pay into my Lifetime ISA and get those savings rather than pay off my debt. Just got to weigh up your options and go with the one most beneficial to you. May not make sense to others.
Yeah, shout out Budget Jones Diary. She's obviously crunched the numbers here, and I'm a big numbers guy. So yeah, you've got to really lay everything out on the table, look at all the numbers, and see what's the best situation for yourself.
Do you guys remember a couple of weeks ago when everyone was saying go to student finance because you may have overpaid on your student loan? Do you guys remember that? Because I remember that. Student finance, their telephone centre must have been burning because people were just calling up. I actually did mine via email, which was a bit of an idiot thing, but at the same time, tell me why student finance owed me 4 figures. You guys realise that November payday is like the worst, yeah? This is where a lot of us will be doing our Christmas shopping. I'm not going to be spending my rebate on that. I want to know how long they've owed me that money. This time last year, I was still on mat leave on £150 a week. Do you know what? God's timing's always right. Thank God I'm in a better position now. But you see that money, I'm going to pay off my debt. You see this credit card?
Smart girl here, smart girl here. She's not going and splurging this rebate. Whenever you get a rebate from the government or from any sort of service, put it towards something good. I mean, especially if it's 4 or 5 figures, and you really shouldn't just be seeing that as, oh, I've got some free money here, I get to burn this money. Really see it as I'm paying off my debts. I'm going to either invest in something, you know, really make that money work for you.
And this credit card or divorcing. Obviously, is there part of me that's like, oh, you can go shopping now and you can do all the things that you were saving for? Of course, but you know what? Do you know what's better than anything I can buy? Financial freedom.
Amen, amen. She's speaking absolute facts here. She has that urge in the back of her head, oh, let's go get something new, let's go shopping, let's treat myself. She has her head screwed on, so shout out to this lady.
There once was a ship that put to sea, and the name of the ship was the Billy O.T.
How did I get into debt? I put an £11,000 car on a credit card. Terrible idea. I only made minimum payments. Even worse idea.
Winds blew harder, bowed it down below my boat.
Are you shopping to escape my mental health? Yeah, this is something a lot of people do. Terrible idea. The credit card debt got bigger. Of course it did, because it's 5 figures on probably a 20% interest.
Boys blow. Soon may the wellermen come to bring us sugar and tea.
I spent more than I earned to keep up with friends and influencers. I spent more. 2 of the biggest traps you can fall into here. One of the best things my dad ever taught me was don't spend what you don't have. And don't give a fuck about what anyone thinks about you. So yeah, these are all terrible ideas.
And rum. One day when the tonguing is done, we'll take our leave and go.
Yeah, sounds like this woman's got herself into a bit of a tricky situation. I'm wishing her all the best. I hope you pull yourself out of it and make some better financial decisions in the future.
I need help paying off my £1,000 credit card debt. Okay, let's have a look. Oh my, that is way worse than I thought. So here's a debt that I've racked up over the last 1.5 months and I need to pay it back. So I've got 3 options. I could make the minimum payment, but I'm telling you right now, you do not want to do this, as you will be charged interest, which will make your debt larger, and over time this could affect your credit score. I could pay the statement balance, which is the amount of money that I owe from spending that I did last month. Or I could pay the total balance, which is the total amount of money that I owe due to spending that I did last month and this month so far. I'm going to pay off the statement balance, as this is the lowest amount of money that I need to pay back right now in order to ensure that I pay no interest and that my credit score increases. There's also no point in paying back more money than I have to right now. And there you go, my debts are now paid until next month.
Yeah, fair play, makes sense. You're not getting paid the interest. Personally, I don't like carrying balances, especially with Amexes and things like that, because they don't mess around, those companies. So yeah, as long as you're on the ball and you're paying attention to the dates and when you have to have things paid off by, yeah, shout out. That's, you know, good advice, but yeah, definitely just start paying it off in full.
£1,000 worth of credit card debt.
If you're an accountant, you're good with money.
Yeah.
And that means you're good with your personal finances.
Yeah.
Have I got that completely wrong?
It's actually a bit of a misconception. A lot of accountants that I know are really bad with money. I see like business bank accounts that, you know, have so much money in them that when it came to my personal finances, it just almost made me think like it was monopoly money.
And you also run an amazing platform called Budget Jones Diary.
Or sort of like LinkedIn. I was very much running away from my problems. Came up with a bit of a debt repayment plan, nothing fancy. And I managed to pay it all off in about 18 months. I'll run through a couple of the techniques actually.
Yeah, go give that girl a follow, Budget Jones Diary. I've seen a few of her videos. She seems pretty switched on. And she's exactly right about that. It's the people who see large money on a regular basis, that's like business money, this, that, and the other. They get their mentality skewed about their own personal finances. So we'll do one more video and then call it there, guys.
My boyfriend has cut up my personal credit and debit cards. This will be long and I apologize for that. I've been with my boyfriend for almost...
Got no time for long.
So we have an update for this. It's been a long time since I made my first post, and things have gotten more chaotic and depressing since I first found out that my sister had completely destroyed my credit. I had been trying to move out on my own when I found out that my sister had maxed out a bunch of credit cards in my name and tanked my credit.
If a family member does this to you, treat them as the enemy and actually get them prosecuted, because this should not be happening to your family members. Yeah, it's just terrible.
Before I even had a chance to use it in my own life. A lot of people were completely correct and guessed that my parents had given her access to my social security number, and that's how she was able to open up all of the credit cards without my permission. I still have no idea why they gave her my social security number. Part of me thinks they were all in on it together and shared the money that they got from the credit cards. I honestly didn't even care, and I didn't view those people as my family, just criminals who tried to ruin my life for their own selfish reasons. Which is why I didn't feel bad at all when I decided to serve my sister with court papers when she was only 18. I would have never been able to repay the debts and raise my own credit, so suing her was my only real option. My entire family begged me to drop the case and insisted that they didn't have the money for court fees or to pay me back, but again, I just really didn't care. They never...
Yeah, it could cause a real big issue in the family, but it's her fault for starting this whole nonsense. Don't let them make you feel bad about what you're doing. You know, at the end of the day, if they're going to do this to you, they're not that great a family.
About me, so I was just returning the favor. Things got really bad after the case started, and my parents would constantly contact me that my sister's mental health was declining the longer the case went on. This didn't really concern me or affect my feelings at all, since my sister had been the sole reason for my own mental health decline the entire time I've been living with my family. I only started to feel bad for her when my parents started telling me that she started doing drugs to cope with the stress of the case. As much as I hated my little sister, I would never have wanted her to be dealing with serious substance abuse. My parents said that she had gone into taking pills and just spent all of her time coked out on Xanax.
Yeah, this is someone who has no accountability. I'm not sure that how true this story is. It might just be something they're putting on TikTok, but I'm sure this happens all the time. She's stolen from you, now she's going down the path of drugs. She's taking no accountability for herself. Do not feel bad about pressing charges on this person.
Called me on the phone one day crying, saying that this was all my fault and that if I never took her to court, then she would never have started doing drugs. This honestly was really upsetting, and I cried afterwards because it hurt hearing my mom blame me for my sister's problems. It made me regret everything I had done, even if my sister was in the wrong. I thought I couldn't feel any worse until my dad called me a couple of weeks later and said that my sister had overdosed and they were in the hospital while she was recovering. They said that they had come home and found her unresponsive on the floor, covered in her own puke, and they rushed her to the emergency room just in time to save her life. As soon as I heard this, I knew I needed to visit her in the hospital. At the end of the day, she was my little sister, and it was breaking my heart to hear she was going through this. But when I got to the hospital, my parents freaked out on me and told me to leave. They even went as far as to have hospital security escort me out, and I'm sitting in my car outside the hospital because at the end of the day, I just want to be close to my sister while she goes through this. I feel that I should have never done this to my family, and I wish I could just take it all.
Yeah, classic guilt trip tactics there. Don't feel bad. I mean, if they're going to put all that on you and not put anything on the sister, not much of a family there, not much of a family, and you might have dodged a bullet. Okay, guys, I'll leave it there. If you could do me a favor, I like to have a bit of a collaborative approach on this. Leave me some comments. Tell me how much debt you're in, what companies it's with, but specifically what interest rate you're paying on these debts. That's kind of what I want to find out. If you could put the country you're in, the amount of debt you got, and the interest rate, that would be so interesting for me. So yeah, drop that in the comment, guys. And yeah, I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.